we are again with Terry Ippoletti, and this is March 30th, 2014. And Terry, how about we talk a little bit about the day today, like your experiences for today, and I'm just going to leave you talk about what it was like today for you to meet somebody that's growing spiritually, and what was your day all about, like from your perspective. You went to work today, and then what happened?
Actually, today's time got distorted on me, and it was like I was supposed to meet up with you to meet Stephanie, and I thought I'd be done by 10 o'clock, and somehow it was 11:30 before I even looked at the clock and said, "Oh my God!" So it's just kind of like the time just isn't registering, or it's just too fast for me. And then it has been a very pleasant day. You know, it's being out in nature, meeting somebody who is in spiritual growth herself and who is sucking up the energies like a sponge, which is awesome because that it just shows that there's so many people out there that are still looking to grow and to come into their true selves. So that's kind of like what I witnessed today just by having our guest Stephanie.
Okay, and so like just for people that are in spiritual growth, how would a person that's in spiritual growth that contacts another person know that it's the right thing to do, or they're in spirit and it's a soul connection? Like, what does that look like?
A soul connection?
Yeah, like say this person's never met you before in your life, and this was the first time you met her, correct?
It's an automatic knowing. It feels like family. Yeah, when you meet somebody, and actually a lot of times the energies just draw you together. It brings you into one another's paths, and it could be from one person to another person and that type of thing, or maybe all three people feel that same connection, and what it feels like is family. Soul connections are family because there is a spiritual connection that is like you know one another.
Okay, and so just maybe in a chronological way, how about you were done with work at around 10, you got done by 12, and then what did the day look like? Like just what did you do? And I think there's our cuckoo bird.
What did I do today? Well, we drove around the lake.
Before, chronologically, what was the first thing we did?
What did we do today? We agreed.
It went so fast that
it did get by
I
fast.
know, and so we did so many things just within a short period of time. And so I just want to log this so people can see what it's like to meet somebody for the first time and what the experience was on your end as somebody who's
we met at my office.
Yes.
And then we did the energy healing on one another.
Okay.
We attuned one another. We opened up Stephanie's crown and her chakras, and then we got her flying, and then so that was a nice start, and then we went. I think we went to eat at Dee's restaurant. And then we went for a ride around the lake and into the mountain, which was really pretty. I love going into the mountains at different seasons. It's like being in touch with nature at a different level.
And then we took a little walk at the lake.
Yeah.
But it was a little chilly because it snowed here.
Yeah.
But all the trees were covered with snow, and the lake had finally melted, and there was geese on the lake, and the various birds. We ran into the crows, and I don't know if that was an osprey that we saw or an eagle out on the lake. Some big bird. It was in the distance, though we couldn't exactly tell. A couple blue jays.
Yeah, and what I thought was neat was the ice that didn't melt. I know Stephanie really liked that too. it like the ice on top of the ice, and it was just moving. It was like it had a life of its own, just moving along with the waves of the water.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. And so now we're here. You did like a angel card reading for Stephanie, right? Mm-hmm. And to give her clarity on her soul path. And now we're just discussing the day, and we're going to probably do a channeling here. And since we have 15 minutes, I think we'll just discuss what we need to discuss here, and then we'll cut. And then in the next session, what we'll do is we'll bring in a channel. Okay. And so I just wanted your perspective on today. And so how much, out of all the things that we did today, how much did you or I or we charge Stephanie for doing this?
We charged Stephanie a lot of love.
Good one. And so there was no intention of charging ever. There wasn't even a thought, but just for the purpose of this video, so people know that that's what true family. It's like you invite these people into your homes. It's like you grew up with them. Like you have this soul connection. Yeah. And so for those that have not ever witnessed this, it is altogether a whole ball game, whole different ball game.
Yeah, and I think that everybody at some level has always connected with somebody else at a soul level, without, even if they didn't realize that they did. You know, even if you were walking in a grocery store and you look up and you smile at somebody and that person smiles back at you, that person might have had a really upsetting day and you just made their day. That was a quick soul connection. So I think at some level we all are connected in some way. And so
definitely. And
we have met people even when we were kids that were real special to us, and we grew with them. Mm-hmm. A soul connection is learning from one another at a higher perspective, even though you don't see it in the spiritual sense, but it is really helping you grow.
Mm-hmm. And so you can actually see from what you're saying is sometimes it's just a split second when you're seeing someone, there's that soul connection in that moment of now. And then there's other times on the other extreme is that people are guided or just physically drawn to another person or people for the purpose of spiritual growth.
Oh yeah, I have soul family all over the United States and in different countries.
Yes. And so this is exactly what I go through when people contact me and they're like, hey, you can come, I have an extra room, you can come stay in my house and I'll feed you and don't put your wallet away. Your family, we are taking care of you.
You meant put your wallet away, don't put your wallet away.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'd like to do is video Jen, or
there's
sorry.
a soul connection with that.
We've been talking about this all day. Steph, Jen, Steph, Jen. Sorry, Steph. That had to get in this video, by the way. So is it okay if I video you to give your perspective?
Sure.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to pan around here. And that's hilarious because we were just talking about, off camera, about something, but we don't have enough time to get into it, thank God.
And today's a fun day. We're all laughing, which is wonderful.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to pan around here, and we're going to talk to Steph. Hi, Steph.
Hi.
And we are at 9 minutes.
Okay.
And what I'd like you to do is give your perspective from the moment you met me and the rundown of how you ended up here today.
Sure. So I met you at a MUFON conference, which is more gear-based towards extraterrestrials and Bigfoot and things like that. And I've always believed in that, but I really feel like that's one small piece in the grand scheme of things. So when you talked, you were a breath of fresh air. You talked about things I've never heard anybody talk about, and you really made things make sense on a spiritual level or a soul level, you know, something that I've never heard people speak about or in the form that you did. So you kind of opened my eyes to this whole journey in spiritual growth, and ever since then I've been following you on Facebook and on YouTube and watching your videos, which then led me to also research and see Terry's work. And I immediately felt like I was drawn to both of your energies, and I was really excited to meet Terry today, and all of the work that we did with our energies and chakras was absolutely amazing. So it's been a real blessing, and it kind of seems too coincidental how things kind of worked out to get me here.
Yeah, sure. And before, like, we kind of skipped ahead, there was one step that you didn't say, was, what was this, about a month ago, I was like, I'm coming back to New Mexico, and I put a thing out on Facebook and said, hey, I'm coming to Pennsylvania, and I'm going to be there in a month. Is there any of my East Coast buddies that are out there that want to just get together and chat or do whatever?
Yeah.
And so from that point, well, maybe you could give your testimony of...
Sure. I actually didn't even see that. I didn't even know that you were coming back here, actually, because I'm not on Facebook too much, so I didn't actually see that part of it. What happened was I was going through some things in my own personal life, and you had wrote a post about not being able to connect with people or having a hard time, connecting with people. And I always say, like, I held you up here. You were an inspiration, a leader to me, somebody that I would want to follow and gain growth from. And when I saw that you also had these same human, issues that we all do, that actually was very comforting for me. And it made me be able to relate to you on a different level. And I actually just popped on Facebook that day and read that post, and then I immediately messaged you because it really rang true to what was going on in my life at that moment. So because of that, you messaged me back and you actually said, hey, I'm just going to so happen to be in Pennsylvania, starting in like the next week. For about a month, maybe we could get together and go to lunch. And that's kind of how that all happened.
Right. What was the feeling like? What was your expectations leading up to like the day of when we met for lunch?
I honestly tried not to have an expectation, and I kept telling my mom and dad that I'm not expecting this to happen. He's probably very, very busy. I don't expect him to have time for me to do this, but I'm going to be very excited if it happens. So I tried not to have an expectation, but you came through.
Okay. And so when you met me, like, and the reason I'm doing this is because I've held people on high pedestals as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to be as real of a person as I can be. I got to be authentic.
Yeah.
And so the people that are out there that are just, airy-fairy and speaking all this, they're not truly living a life of balance.
Right.
And so, I'm not saying I'm perfect or anything like that, but when you met me, instead of you seeing me as this person on a pedestal, what did you see when you met me?
I saw something real, which is what I felt whenever I saw that Facebook post of yours. It was very relatable. Even though you are this inspirational person, and people, I feel like, would naturally gravitate towards your energy, you have a very grounded sense about you. So it's not something that's so unattainable. In a sense. So whenever I met you, it only reconfirmed that.
Nice, thank you. And
Sure.
So, we went to lunch, and then during lunch, we were like, well, we have the option of, separating and, and going home, or let's jump in the car and let's go to a park. And so that's what we did. We had no directions, we had no plans.
Yeah.
We ended up at Keystone State Park.
Yep.
And we walked around the lake. And I did a little bit of filming, but we just did more of connecting at that point. And then I talked to you a little bit more about Terry. And so then fast forward ahead to today, and then we just connected, and all three of us got together and just kind of almost, what's your feeling? Like, we have like less than a minute. So does this feel like a soul family connection? Have you ever felt this way with anybody before?
I have. I've had one very, very good friend that I felt this immediate connection with, and even my current boyfriend. Just this immediate connection, and you can almost read each other's minds. And you've been doing that to me all day, so that's kind of crazy. But I knew even before meeting Terry, I got to meet you before I saw you. But even before meeting Terry, I knew I needed to meet her.
Awesome. All right. Thank you for your testimony.
Sure.
All right, guys, we gotta get out of here because we're running out of time. And there's Terry one more time, and we'll be back on here.